Welcome to this episode. My name is Diron Ifade, your host. Nigeria's adoption of some genetically modified crops has been generating a lot of controversy, hailed by some as the key to food security and condemned by others as a threat to health, threat to the environment, and food sovereignty. But while experts and activists are slugging things out, little is being heard from those who should be at the center of the debate, the farmers. So today, I'm speaking with architect Kabir Ibrahim, president of the All Farmers Association of Nigeria, AFAN. Architect Ibrahim, you're welcome.
Thank you very much for having me.
Good to see you.
Thank
So
you.
we are talking about issues around genetically modified crops. A lot is going on out there in the public concerning it, on radio, on television, on social media, in churches, in mosques, in beer parlors. People are talking about GMO. I'm sure you're following the debate. From your own perspective as a farmer, how have you seen this public uproar about GMOs?
Honestly, it is reductive. You see, we have been talking about GMO or genetically modified crops for a very long time. We have been importing many of these products, but soon as we started releasing our own, developed by our own scientists commercially, we began to hear a lot of things like they cannot be planted, they are associated with some diseases, we are losing our sovereignty and all that. And you know, we have done several public hearings at the National Assembly, and many people saddled with the responsibility to enlighten people on this have come on air to talk about it. We have been talking with some of the farmers who have chosen to use them, and they are asking for those seeds. I wonder why anybody who is not a farmer will be making noise about it. I can tell you stories about the PBR cowpea and the teller maize. I get a lot of people asking for where they can get those seeds right now as I'm talking to you.
Okay, I mean, those are the stories we'll be interested in hearing. You did say people talk about, oh, we are going to lose our food sovereignty. We are not going to be able to replant our seeds, to damage the environment and all those things. So you as a farmer, let's start like this. Do you plant genetically modified crops?
I do. Even this year I have plantations of PBR cowpea and teller maize. And
okay, so tell us your experience.
My experience is that I use less insecticides. You know, I spray my PBR cowpea twice only instead of 10 times. And the maize, I spray it maybe once, and that's all. And the yield is very high. The yield is very high. And my family has eaten that. For the last 3 years, we have eaten that and we are okay.
But part of the problems, part of the complaints that people have out there is this issue of spraying. You said you spray less. That you used
Only
to spray
twice.
10 times. Now you sprayed only twice. But what about the spraying itself? The chemical that you spray? People say that you are compelled to use chemicals that are different from what you used to use, and that the ones you are now being asked to use, being compelled to use to plant the GMO, that it is dangerous.
Who knows what I spray? Who controls me on my farm? I spray.
They thought that some multinationals
No, well, I'm not aware of it. I'm not aware that
You
anybody compels me to use anything. In fact, there is no
oh,
compulsion in any product that is being sold in the market. The farmer buys with their eyes open. Nobody says you must use this. No. But it is in your larger interest to use what will be useful to you or what is economically
okay.
viable for you to use.
Now let's talk about these chemicals, because the one that people have been harping on is the one they call glyphosate with the product name Roundup. Is that what you use?
No, I've never used it. I've never used it.
So do you use any other pesticide different from what you used to use before you started planting GMO?
No, no, I have never. In fact, my farm hands are even better informed to tell you some of these things because, as far as I'm concerned, there is nothing unusual in what we do. We have never deviated from what we are used to doing. But what we have got is that there is some resistance to some diseases that used to devastate what we planted, those things that were not GMO. And that doesn't happen anymore.
Okay, so okay, let's talk about the seed. They said that they are bringing some seeds from overseas, from some corporation and things like that, and that is what you are using, and you have to be
As far
buying
as I'm
from
concerned,
season to season.
as far as I'm concerned, I have never seen any overseas or corporation that comes to tell me that I should use this or gives me rebate because they want me to use this or that.
Okay, where do
I
you
have not
get
been, and nobody, no farmer that I deal with has told me that.
where do you get your seed?
Techniseed, Boom Seed, Eco Seeds. Three
Were those the
places.
places that you used to get your seed normally? Are those local companies?
They are, except for Eco Seed. Boom Seed is even owned by Boom Seed is owned by one Hassan Yohana from Kaduna State. Techniseed is in Kano. I mean, the general manager is a Yoruba man, but it is in Kano. EcoSeed is the one that has a managing director who is a non-Nigerian, but
Okay.
the company is in Kaduna.
Okay. Now, let me ask you more about this issue of seed. What has been the practice even before GMO? Do you used to go to the seed companies to buy seeds, or do you used to save your previous year's harvest to plant the next year?
Well, you see, when I began to understand and become a businessman in agriculture, when I stopped doing, just little farming in my backyard and all that, when I started doing it commercially and doing it as a businessman, I realized that buying seed from the seed companies, I could get more yield, higher yield. But whenever I saved my seed to replant, I used to get very, very low yield. So I have chosen not to use grains, but to use seed. And I buy seed from Premier Seed, Value Seed, and many other seed companies that are around near me.
So you just said something now that you decided not to use grains and you use seeds. Can you tell us the difference between grains and seeds?
The saving of seeds from your plantation is actually using grains, because those are not seeds, they are grains. But seed is marked and processed as seed, and there are seed companies that do that. That is their business, and there are many of them. I used to be a member of the board of the Seed Council of Nigeria, so I know what is seed and what is grain, and I have done advocacy to our farmers to desist from using grains, rather use seed for maximum yield, even on the conventional crops.
In short, what you are saying is that even while you are planting non-GMO conventional seeds, you are still going to these companies to buy seed, not to save.
But of course, as a businessman, that's what I do. As a businessman, as someone who is doing agriculture as a business, remember, I am an architect. I didn't get into agriculture just to feed my family. We are very few in my family. I can even feed them with egg. So what I do is, I do agriculture as a business, and I listen to advice. I am a professional, so I ask professionals to guide me as to how to do it. And that is why I've never fallen victim of doing anything that is inimical to my business. And our advocacy in AFAN, why we are leaders in AFAN, is to tell our farmers the best way out of poverty to get into prosperity, chief of which is the choice of seed, and even the type of plantation or the type of crop that they should plant, because you need to be sure that what you are producing is marketable and it will attract some benefits for you. And that's what we have been telling our farmers. We will never do anything inimical to the farmers. We will only be there to help them. That is why we are there. We are not paid salary. We are not there to take money from them. We are there to make sure that their rights are protected and Nigeria gets food security. So the work we are doing is to add value to Nigeria and to add value to the farmers and to everyone in Nigeria.
But generally speaking, among those of you who are farmers, how do your members take this issue of GMO? Are they enthusiastic about it, or some have reservations, some are, well, they like it?
Well, in AFAN, there are people who are atheists, there are people who are Muslims, there are people who are pagans, there are people who are in ABGA, there are people in APC, there are people in PDP. So they have a choice. And as far as we're concerned, planting anything, either GMO, conventional seed, or even taking our advice to use only seed and all that, is dependent on the choice of the individual. So people make choices. We cannot ram anything down anybody's throat, but we can eulogize the advantages, and it's up to the person to make a choice. And what we do normally, even before I began to support the idea of biotechnology that led to the evolution of genetic modification in Nigeria, what I did was I tried to plant these things myself, and I looked at them. And you know, my background is science, and I attended conferences. I even went to the best university in agriculture, Cornell, before I now began to talk for GM and genome editing. So I'm not doing it from a position of ignorance. To the best of my ability, to my understanding, I tell the farmers exactly what I know and the truth, and nothing but the truth. I am not an agent for anybody. I'm not selling these seeds to make money from them. I'm not making anything from anywhere because of this. But it is, for me, a pathway to making my members more prosperous and to make Nigeria food secure. This is my effort.
All right. Now, that's for the farmers. What about the market, the people that you sell to? Are they aware that those products, those grains that you're selling, are actually genetically modified?
Well, I will tell you what is very difficult in Nigeria. If people sell these commodities in basins with flies all over them in our markets, it is not possible to label them. But when people come to me to buy in large quantities from my farm, I tell them this is GMO. This is produced through inorganic means. And this is even organic. So they have a choice to buy that. And I'm sure when they are supplying in large quantities to people, they are supposed to also tell people, because the law is very clear. The agency settled with that is very clear that you must label foods you sell. You must label what is GMO. So if people in the market who sell in basins cannot do that because of the propensity of it, then we need to look at that. We need to be sure that we stop selling things, unprofessionally. There is nowhere in the world, in the first world, where you go and see what is happening in our markets. So the development has to be all round. It's not only that you should label whatever you produce, but you should make it possible for labeling. Take seeds. We did a lot of work on what is good seed, what is certified seed, by developing the codex. The seed is supposed to be packaged such that you can scratch something on it and it will now unveil or reveal a number, and when you call that number, you ascertain that this is the source of the seed, and therefore this seed is genuine. It's not seed that somebody else just packaged. That way, we are safe. We are using a certified seed. The same thing. If you are going to sell GM crops or GM any commodity, it should be labeled properly and it should be displayed properly for you to buy.
People are saying that many of our staples are also now genetically modified, like cassava, like potato, like I think yam. Some of these people who talk on TV and on radio do say that, our cassava is compromised, or this and that. You don't plant GM cassava? Or are you aware of any of your members who plant GM cassava, GM yam, GM potatoes?
You see, I've been involved with this issue for a very long time. There is no release of those things that you mentioned, cassava, yam, or potato. No release in commercial quantities of those as GM crops. They are not in Nigeria. So anybody who talks about it is out of ignorance. Somebody the other day was talking of our ginger. It has been either polluted. That's why we had ginger blight. And that the president of Cotton Association had issued a statement. The president of Cotton Association is also my member in the Nigeria Agribusiness Group. I spoke to him. He was abroad, and he unequivocally dissociated himself from what was trending in social media. He didn't say anything like that. So, I mean, we should learn to pick and choose what we want to believe from the social media or any medium we have not verified.
To the best of your own knowledge as a farmer, as president of All Farmers Association, we don't have ginger or cassava or yam or potato and all those things in the genetically modified form yet.
We don't have them.
Let's go to the impact on the environment, because we are told that once you plant these GM crops, you cannot intercrop them because nothing else will grow in that place. It will poison the floor and things like that. Do you intercrop with other things? The way our people plant, maybe they plant they plant corn and then they put some vegetables and stuff in between. Can any other thing grow where you plant GM crops?
Well, definitely. I have done that. I'm even putting some vegetables right now as we are talking. I'm intercropping with teller maize. Once I take out the teller maize, the remaining moisture underneath, and then some watering that I will do, I will have a field day taking vegetables from the farm. And I also intercrop with groundnuts. Groundnuts is not released commercially as GM. So, and it works perfectly for me. So, I really don't know where people are getting all this. This is reality, not fairy tale. Some people are not farmers. They don't even know the difference between wheat and crop that grows on trees, and they come out to talk like that. There's a farm. There's somebody who is talking that he doesn't even he has never seen wheat plantation, and he's talking about wheat, genetically modified wheat in Nigeria, and all that. That kind of talk is reductive. That's why I started saying that it was reductive. You remember that we were at the National Assembly at some point, and there was some talk. Some people came and they were shouting and all that because they didn't let us talk, and probably they used other means. The National Assembly was even biased at that time. But later, when we spoke to them and showed them facts and figures, and we got all the professors to come and talk to them, and when they saw what we ourselves have done for ourselves, they know that we don't go cap in hand begging anybody for anything. We are not anybody's boy. Nobody is using us to peddle any information that is false. They now have taken another step towards educating people. If you remember, the DG of NAFDAC once said that genetically modified crops were not safe and all that. Recently, I think she has come to say that no, she doesn't know why she said that, because she's a member of the board of the biosafety agency. So this kind of thing, it's neither here nor there. That's why, in Nigeria, we have to be practical. We are 230 million people now. We need to feed that population. In 25 years, we will be 400 million. So anything at all that will help feed that population should be looked upon. And that is why you have regulators. Once those crops do not pass the test of the regulators, they will not be allowed to be released commercially. Safety is very, very important. Food safety is very, very important.
Now,
if there is no balance, we have a team in the Federal Ministry of Health that is even discouraging the use of chemical fertilizers. But our farmers, if they don't use chemical fertilizer, it's as if they are not farming. And the organic fertilizer from animal dung and plant residues and all that is not enough to provide fertilization for our crops. So we must strike a balance.
You think that the whole of this hot air out there, where do you see it going? Because as it is now, you're hearing the same thing from politicians, from some members of the public, from clergy people. They seem to be drowning out the scientists in this. As a leader in this country, how does that make you feel?
It is very sad, but I'm not surprised. There is no development, not only in Nigeria, all over the world, where you don't get this kind of resistance. But if we look back, those things fizzled out after some time. Yes, it is a very trying period for this aspect of agriculture, but it will come to pass. But let us understand that this is not the mainstay of our agriculture. This is just an aspect of it. There are people who do organic farming. They don't use even chemical fertilizers. They don't plant G.M.O crops. They don't even do anything inorganic. What they produce is organic foods. So, it's not, look, you are going to feed right now over 200 million people. One methodology of production is not enough. It's only a choice. I am an architect. If I want you to appreciate what I do, I tell you to live in a maisonette. Let me be able to play with forms. Let your bedroom be circular. Let your toilet be triangular. But these things cost money. It's up to you now to say they should be as close to a square as possible, because you will spend less money. This is choice. This is choice. When you go around Abuja, for instance, you see buildings. They say Jiran owns this, Kabir owns this, and some people will say this Kabir's house is very ugly. I can't sleep in it. But Kabir likes it and sleeps very well in it, and many other people like it. So the choice is ours, either to use or to deploy the technology to produce GMO or to eat GM foods is a choice. Nobody is compelled to do it. Nobody, there is no compulsion in it. It's like in our religion, I'm a Muslim, there is no compulsion in Islam. There are some clerics and a geneticist, a professor who has been involved with genetic engineering from ABU, who participated. And their conclusion is that, as far as they know, GM crops are safe for use, but they must be labeled. People have to know what they are up to. But Islam does not prevent that kind of thing, just like Islam did not prevent the production of test tube babies.
Rounding up quickly, do you think that these controversies that we are having is a result of ignorance or of mischief?
It's a combination of both. A combination of both. Some of the antis are doing it out of probably some pecuniary reasons. The people who sell the insecticide are losing out because when you plant GMO, you use less. Those people are definitely sponsoring some of these antis. Most of the people I see and talk with, either on platforms or even physically, are talking about it out of ignorance. They are not basing it on any scientific evidence.
Having said that, the issue may be ignorance or mischief. Finally, if you are to advise maybe the authorities, maybe members of the public, what would be your advice in countering this ignorance or mischief as you have identified?
What I propose, and I tell everybody who cares to listen, is that you need to educate people. You have to educate people. You cannot believe that some people have never heard of GMO in this country. So a lot more advocacy has to be done. And the government, if it is interested in this matter, should come out clean and say that this is safe and the people have a choice to use it. That will help the issue. But keeping people without informing them will create a lot of problems. And even farmers, there are many, many farmers who are complaining that they cannot use this. They are buying the bad talk in town. So as far as we are concerned, we think that you should educate people more. You should have a lot more awareness campaigns. You should be able to really dissuade people from thinking that GMO is a killer and that we will lose our seed sovereignty because we use it. Farmers have learned that they can do business and they can get good value for their produce. And many, many people have been attracted to agriculture. There are many, many possibilities in using GM crops and genome editing. But people are discouraged by the kind of talk that goes on in the public domain. So government should come out to support the issue of GM crops, provided that the regulators pass them for release.
Thank you very much, Architect Kabir Ibrahim. It's been a pleasure and enlightening to hear from you from the perspective of the farmer in this GMO debate. Thank you for speaking with us. And viewers, have been speaking with the president of the All Farmers Association of Nigeria, AFAN. He's been telling us about his personal experience growing GMO crops and also the experiences of some members of this association that he heads. He has said that some of them are for it, some are not for it. But then the good thing about it is not by compulsion. It is an option. Just like people are growing organic, some are growing inorganic. GM is just an option in the mix. You are free to choose whichever one that you want. Thanks for listening and thanks for watching. We'll see you again next time.